Inside Utah Politics.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Glenn Mills. It's time to go inside Utah politics, and we begin today with Governor-elect Spencer Cox and Lieutenant Governor-elect Diedre Henderson. Great to have both of you on the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn.
Let's start off with that. Governor-elect and Lieutenant Governor-elect. How does that sound?
Well, Lieutenant Governor, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. You know, I didn't go into this year expecting this, so it's going to take some getting used to for me.
Yeah, we'll dig more into that in just a bit. Governor-elect Spencer Cox, how does that title sound to you?
Well, Glenn, it sounds surreal, to be honest. It's crazy to think we're here. It's been a long year and a half, so many twists and turns, a lot of things we didn't expect, but we're just so grateful to the people of the state of Utah and the voters that supported us.
It has been a year and a half. Let's look back at the campaign. What are some of the most defining moments on the campaign trail?
Well, there are a couple that really stand out for me. One is obviously when we announced and got things started, starting the 248 city tour, which was kind of crazy in retrospect. Glad we did that. One of the biggest moments for me was choosing my lieutenant governor in that announcement, and I think that was a real defining moment for our campaign because of what came next, and because of her, I think that the next big one was really the convention.
Yeah, the convention and the primary, those were big hurdles to get through.
When you got that call, Diedre, what went through your mind? Did you have to think about it? How did that all play out?
I did have to think about it for a little while. You know, it's an opportunity that doesn't come to you every day. And because of the work that I've done with Spencer over the years and the person that I know him to be, it wasn't a hard choice for me to make. I was up for re-election to my third term in the Utah State Senate this year, so I did have to choose. I had to make the decision whether to run for an easy re-election or to risk a potential loss and run with Spencer. But ultimately, my husband and I decided that was a risk that was well worth taking, and we're very grateful that we did. And I told Spencer, even on the primary election night, no matter what happens, I have no regrets, and I was grateful to get that call and to take that risk with Spencer.
And you credit bringing her on board for the convention and what happened in the primary?
I really do. You'll remember the pandemic was just starting. In fact, we were set to announce her as lieutenant governor, and we had an earthquake, and so we had to postpone a day, and it was just a crazy time. And I was unavailable to really run the campaign the way it needed to be run. She stepped in, took over, and we won the convention, and that really springboarded us, I believe, to a primary victory.
Did that surprise you at all? That victory in convention?
Maybe a little bit, just because I didn't know what to expect. My mind and efforts were so scattered at that point, but we knew we would be competitive, but winning, kind of going away, was, I think, exceeded my expectations in a very good way.
When you look back at the implementation of SB 54, we don't have a lot of data, but we can go back 4 years. And in races like yours, it has been unusual for the person who won convention to also win the primary. How do you think that all played out?
Well, I think it played out for several reasons. One, again, people were looking for experience, and we certainly had that. But two, and very importantly, Senator Henderson and her incredible work working directly with the delegates and helping them understand why we were the ticket that they should vote for, and that made a difference. Senator, you may have something to add to that.
Well, I mean, it threw us for a loop not to have a convention in person, not to be able to campaign in person, and that was certainly disappointing. And you know, every candidate experienced that alteration in their plans, but we worked really hard, and it was actually really important to me to do well at convention.
Yeah, a very strange year. It all changed right in the middle of the game, no doubt about that. Tell me a little bit your thoughts on the competition. It was a hard-fought primary. In the general election, you went up against the Democratic nominees in Chris Peterson and Lieutenant Governor candidate Karina Brown. Give me your thoughts on the competition along the way.
Well, obviously, we ran against some of the best and brightest in the state. I don't think we've ever had, in the history of the state, I don't think it's hyperbole, a group of people running that had better resumes for this position or were better funded. And so we have a tremendous amount of respect for those that we ran against in the primary and in the general election. I've developed a real strong friendship with Chris Peterson. I know Senator Henderson has also developed a friendship with Karina, and they didn't pull any punches, but really proud of the way we ran our campaign.
Yeah, I would agree with you. That field in the primary was one like we haven't seen in my lifetime anyway in the state. Senator, your thoughts on the competition along the way?
Well, I had a lot of really good friends running for governor and lieutenant governor in the primary. I went to junior high and high school with Amy Winder Newton. She and I were very good friends, and of course Senator Dan McKay and Greg Hughes. And there were just so many of them. Thomas Wright. So many people that I have known and respected for many years, and so it was hard. One of the difficulties for me deciding to join Spencer was knowing that I would be going up against my good friend Amy, and I hated the thoughts of that. But at the same time, I loved the idea of an opportunity to expand my voice and to join Spencer in this endeavor.
Yeah, I kind of had a running joke that my panel participants was very limited during that primary race for governor because most of them were regulars here on the show. Okay, very important moving forward. Coronavirus, obviously the key issue that we're dealing with right now, and we're not going in the right direction in the state of Utah. So how do we get that on track?
Well, you're right. We're seeing this pandemic really, the spread of the virus explode across the United States. I think there are 36 states that have had some sort of record over the past couple weeks, including Utah, and we're seeing it in Europe as well. We had some really important meetings with Dr. Birx of the Federal Task Force this past week, and something we've been begging for is more testing, and she promised us that, and more rapid testing, so that we could start doing surveillance testing, much more testing of people, asymptomatic testing. That's how we get ahead of this. She was also very bullish on vaccines and said that as early as the end of this month, we could have a working vaccine available, obviously in limited doses, but starting the first of the year, more doses so we can protect the most vulnerable and then get that out to more Utahns. Those things are going to make a huge difference, and we've got to get those rapid tests here quickly.
Is there more we could potentially do in the meantime, though? We've all seen the videos of the huge parties going on during the Halloween weekend and more. Is asking people to follow the guidelines enough at this point?
Well, no, it's not, which is why we have mask mandates and it's why we have limits on gatherings. What we do know is that the spread isn't happening in the workplace. By and large, it's not happening in schools. It's happening in social settings, and usually those social settings are in our own homes with extended family and neighbors and those things. It's and again, we've limited that by order of the state health department, but enforcement of that is just impossible across the state. So it really is incumbent on all of us to take this more seriously, to be careful, to social distance, to wear our masks, to wash our hands, to not go out when we're sick, to improve ventilation, and to keep the spread of this virus from happening.
Senator, real quick, I want to get your thoughts on this because you have been badly impacted by the coronavirus. You've been hospitalized. Your thoughts when you see these videos of these parties and everything else that's going on?
Well, it's been a rough few months for me and for my family members. If someone gets coronavirus and they get off with a mild case, I'm really happy for them. But people need to understand that that's not how it happens with everybody. And we need to worry about more than just our deaths. We need to worry about the long-term effects, the scarring in the lungs, the scarring in the hearts that we're seeing. We don't know enough yet about this virus, but we do know that there are some serious long-term impacts to previously healthy people that aren't death. And that have an impact financially, economically, and health-wise on families and individuals. So people need to until we have widespread use of vaccines, until we have widespread use of good medical treatments, people really do need to take this seriously, make sure that they protect others, because you can be contagious, very contagious, for a couple of days before your symptoms even start, before you know you're sick.
Okay, we need to take a quick break, but I'm going to have the two of you back on when we return, so stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We continue now with Governor-elect Spencer Cox and Lieutenant Governor-elect Diedre Henderson. I want to get into election night. Early Wednesday, we heard the president come out, claim victory, referred to it as a fraud on the American people, saying if it changes, the election will be stolen. As someone who is now the chief of elections in Utah and soon will be, what's your thoughts when you hear those words?
Well, we've been very outspoken about this over the past several weeks. This is how elections work. We know that here in Utah. In our primary race, we didn't know who had won for 6 days. This is not uncommon. There's no evidence of massive fraud or any wrongdoing. And so it's just important for the people of the state of Utah and the people of the country to be patient, to know that this is the vote counting process and that all legitimate votes will be counted, and then we'll see what happens.
Are we concerned, Senator, about what could happen, though? I've never seen businesses boarding up their windows on election eve and beyond, anticipating maybe something could happen.
Well, I think that's a concern for all of us, and it's one reason why I think that the message that Lieutenant Governor Spencer Cox and our competitor Chris Peterson, put out this message a couple of weeks ago, that we need to unite as a nation. That no matter what the outcome of the election is, we need to unite and move forward as Americans. And that is a really, really important message. And I think we all need to be patient. We need to think the best of people and not automatically jump to conclusions that people are trying to swindle us or steal the election. I think that impugning other people's motivations is a really big problem right now, and we all need to be better about that.
Let's talk more about that campaign that you launched with your competitor, Chris Peterson. A lot of people saw that as a breath of fresh air, not politics as usual. But how can we now ride that momentum and really turn it into action and bring people together?
Well, really, it's incumbent on each of us. We can't wait for politicians to do this kind of thing. They're just a reflection of us. If we really want to change, and I pray that we do, it starts on Facebook. It starts with us not demonizing people who are different than us. It starts with us getting proximate to people who are different than us, learning about them, listening to them, trying to understand them, and then trying to convince them to join us, not just putting them down and impugning their character.
Yeah, that is a tall task, though, when you take on social media. People are willing to say anything behind a keyboard that they would never say to your face. Thoughts on that, Senator?
One thing that I've learned is we can't worry about other people. We actually need to worry about ourselves. We need to make sure that our motivations are good and that we are being graceful to other people, that we're extending mercy and grace that we would hope other people would extend to us. We can't worry about if someone will do that to us. We can only, worry about whether or not we're going to do that to someone else.
Glenn, I have to tell you that she taught me a valuable lesson. Senator Henderson always says, if it feels good, don't send it. And I'm trying to do better at that.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I like that. All right. Appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being with us.